ladies and gentlemen, episode 131, Speaking Sporadically, the podcast. Our hiatus is done. We're back.
It's been so long.
go.
I was trying to think about the intro song, and I can only think of like the first like quarter second. I can't think of how it ends.
Well, it's going to be
That's how long
new.
it's been.
It's going to be new and improved here soon, right?
Yeah, we
That's
got to get
cool.
on it though. We gotta get on it.
Yep.
Get on a lot of stuff.
I actually figured out like genuinely how to work the GarageBand app on iOS, and it's really fun. So we'll get some stuff going. We might be able to do it just in that, and then upload it as a clean file with no, mess.
We started working on something one time.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it
I
is.
don't either. We still have the recording, and we could relearn it, but I know we started on something, and it was a little quick jig.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought of something on the way home today. I can't remember what it was. It's to say on the pod. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Follow us on all of our socials. TikTok and Instagram at Speaking Sporadically. Please, we're desperate. We'll start uploading, I promise. If you follow, I will upload. And if you comment, I'll shout you out. Twice.
Nice.
That rhymed.
Yeah, so don't mind the mess in the cabin. We're going to do some spring cleaning here soon.
Just did a lot before the camera.
Yeah, but, we're glad to be back for sure.
Absolutely.
It's just a nice routine thing to do, man. So we got a day plotted out on our schedules now to do it. We're all working men now, so
Say that again.
we're all working men
We're
now.
all working
so-
men.
This is Rex. Do you know the episode you're on?
I mean, I've probably been on. This is probably like my fourth or fifth time, but it's been a little while since I've been on.
It's been a little for all of us.
But but the last time I was on an episode, I think we were in the basement with. I think Evan was on too at the same time. It's probably been over a year ago.
I wish I could if we graphed out over the lifetime of our pod, like time put into podcast. Pretty much the graph would be pretty high at the beginning, then it would go down, steady up, and then once we started recording, because that was a lot of time to get YouTube set up, peak, then I'd say it's down, and then
Probably. I think we had a slight drop for a little bit. I think you're getting there.
yeah, but then I'm saying like every Halloween, boom, time.
It plateaus
Yeah.
for like a straight
It
week.
kind of
Like,
stays for Christmas, though. I would say.
Yeah,
it
Halloween
does.
to Christmas.
It goes through that holiday
but
season.
after
is
the
good.
new year, bro, like January, February, March, April, May.
It's May right now, so
We missed our birthday this year.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. Isn't it in April?
Uh-oh.
It's in April.
This is the 3-year birthday episode.
No, are you kidding?
I get to be on one
No,
special.
Our birthday's March. Our birthday is March.
It is March.
Not done anything. In March.
Yeah, yeah. We missed our birthday.
Uh-oh.
Wait. We gotta light a
Yo,
candle.
Dolph, you got my phone,
You
bro.
have candles? No, I saw you hide it earlier.
If you're lying on camera right now.
I don't.
Dude,
I
it
did
looks like it's
not
right
touch-
there. I kind of see it.
I did not touch your phone.
If that's my phone.
Dude, it's clearly his phone.
That's wild. That's wild to do.
That's ridiculous. That is
I was having
ridiculous.
separation anxiety. Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely missed her birthday.
I'm
That's
so
crazy. I
disappointed.
didn't even think about it.
No one did. That's
Is this really the
crazy.
birthday special then?
I literally made a conscious thought too, and was like, "Does anything go on in March?"
Nah.
Nothing happens in March.
St. Patty's Day.
My
Yeah,
girlfriend's
that's
birthday,
about
but
You know.
that's it.
Yeah, that's not really that important.
It might be the same day.
Sorry,
as that.
Alyssa.
Yeah, what is our birthday?
I think it's the 20th.
I don't know. 2 days off then.
Yeah. Our birthday's not. Wait.
I mean, this should have to be our. Is this our birthday episode, or do we
No,
want to do something
we can't
Do
different?
another one later.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's whatever.
I mean, I guess it would have been bad if we missed the 1 year. The first year would have been bad, and 2 year probably would have been worse than this.
Well,
Now
now
it's
it's
fine.
almost like we're in our 30s and no one even keeps track of the
Yeah.
birthdays.
Yeah,
You'd have
we're
to
just
be
getting
listening for a
socks
while to
and
even
we're
know,
getting
right?
socks for Christmas and birthdays, so it's all right. Oh,
Jeez.
well.
But anyways, I had one question to ask you guys for today.
Mm-hmm.
When do you guys fill up your gas tanks?
Dude,
And-
that's crazy. I was just thinking about that today, like heavily.
And how
I was
much?
talking to myself about it. I go. I'll do it for the camera. What was it? Empty, bro. That's the only one I fill up. Today, I
Yeah.
literally had that gas light on, and then I drove another probably 15, 20 minutes with the gas light on. Then I filled up.
See,
Oh,
to
when
full.
when you do fill up, you topper.
I top
her
it
up.
off, and then I keep going to an even dollar.
Dude,
so if it
yeah.
stops at, like today, it stopped at like 57.20. I went to 58.
I've left
That's wild.
I've left for school, which is 45 minutes away. After driving the night before from like say like the podcast to home, by the time I get in my car from the podcast, the light is on, and then I'll still get up in the morning and just drive to Lima. I'm like, I'll fuel it up when I'm done.
Heck yeah.
nah,
That's what it is.
no, I
yeah.
cannot do that.
I might have coasted to a gas station once or twice, but it's all worked out.
The number of times that my car has been below like a quarter of a tank in the last 4.5 years is probably less than I can count on one hand.
Real.
That's crazy.
How?
Like as soon as my car drops
How?
below like a half a tank, then it's like okay, like whenever I see like a decent gas price, I'll pull in. And
You
get
go
gas.
so much though then.
No, not really. I mean, it's like once a week, maybe once every 5 days.
That's super.
That's so
That's
much.
so frequent.
That's
That's
I go-
so much.
Now that I barely drive,
most people go once a week.
Yeah, I
I-
can almost guarantee during the summer I'll go every.
I'll probably fill my tank up 5 times this whole summer.
Yeah, I'll probably
Yeah,
go every
Unless
two
I
and a
drive
half
somewhere
weeks.
specifically.
This past-
I drive a ton of miles though too. I mean, like I'm well over 1,000 miles a month probably. So,
Right.
I
The
mean,
worst phase I had was like it ended like 3 months ago, and then it was the prior like 9 months. For whatever reason, bro, I would just drive it till it's empty, then I'll throw $20 in it. Wouldn't even give me a half tank.
That-
Drive it till
What
it's
are
like
you doing?
bare bones
For
empty.
9
I
months?
never
Just
topped
thought
it
about
out.
That irritates me.
I never
so
topped
much.
it out. I would just throw $20 in it, and whatever it got me, like just around half tank, I'd be like, all right.
What mindset made you want to do that?
The fact that I always had $20 on hand, and I would just
throw 40.
Well,
What
this was my mindset. Obviously, like in the long run, it doesn't make sense. But every time I would be like almost in a rush or something, and I would be like, oh, I don't have that much time to fill it all the way up. Like the pumps are slow. I'll just do $20. Get me where I need to go, and just
Nah.
every time it'd be like 20
Stick
bucks.
the card in, fill that sucker up, pump it to $1, close the cap, and get on your way. That's.
I
it.
don't get pumping it to the
I've
dollar.
I've
If it's on my
never,
credit card, I don't
I've
even
never
get that.
in my life
I like
like not filled my car all the way up when I go to the gas station.
Yeah.
I've always filled it up
that
completely.
with that phase. It was probably like, yeah. But I also think it was a little bit of a rebellion because my old car, I could only fill it all the way up because the fuel gauge didn't work.
You had to be able to count.
So I had to top it up, and then I had to track miles. So then I got my new car, and I was like, man, the fuel gauge works. I can just put however much I want in it.
You ever paid for gas with coins?
Yeah.
Can't say I ever have.
It's
Not a
sad.
fun experience.
I put $3 in quarters in my tank one time to get to school.
Yeah.
$3
I-
and quarters.
Last time I was in
It's down
Lima.
diabolical.
Last time I was in Lima.
What the heck?
It was actually Friday. I finished my last exam, last day of school, and I get in my car. Before I get in my car, I'm like, oh no, my back tire's like not flat. There's not a hole in it. It was just, I'm like, that's too low for the interstate. So I limped this thing over to a gas station. It is I checked like 3 gas stations before that, no air pumps, right? And so I finally find one, and it is the shittiest gas station in all of Lima City. And I pull up there, and it was so shady. But I get up there, I pull it up to the air pump, and I start looking at it, and this thing is like basically, I can see through it because it's so rusted out. I'm like, oh, dear Lord. And I put the coins in there. Luckily, I have a container of coins. It takes like 8 coins. 1, 2, 3. I already look crazy. You good, my brother? All right. Put it in, and then I get it's like, all right, you're good to go. You don't even have a button. Once you put the coins in, you're supposed to have it ready.
Charging for air is actually crazy, though.
I know.
It's wild.
Casey's used to be free for the longest time.
No.
Then they started charging for it.
But they didn't tell me I had to have it on and ready when I put the last coin in. So just go, you have 5 minutes. I'm like, oh.
And it just
So I get it, and I put it on there. I didn't even think about it. I thought, like, I'll start filling it up, sit in my car, no problem. Nah, you have to hold that thing there. It's a big handle, and it's one of those double-sided ones, right? So you put it on there, and there's no twist, there's no nothing. So I put it on there. I'm like, oh, there's no clasps, there's nothing for it. So it's filling up, and I just like sit down cross-legged on the disgusting ground. The what is it? No, it wasn't
You
even.
sat down like
It was
on
the road.
blacktop?
It was-
You sat down on
Yeah.
your butt. You didn't just like kind of like stay on your toes and just.
Drop on a knee or something.
and show my rear to the 400 people going past me on the road? No.
Yeah.
What if I get whistled at? No.
Probably turn around like,
I'm not sitting on. I'm not
Weird,
sitting
but
on the
okay.
ground.
I
Even when
checked for needles first. Does that help?
Yes.
I gave it a little once over, and then I was there for 5 minutes, sitting there, just holding it, and it sucked because you had to keep pressure on it. So my thumb was over top of it like this. I couldn't even get my phone out and everything. I was sitting there because I didn't want to waste the air because I needed like all of it. I'm sitting there. This sucks. And then it finally putted out. I'm like, oh, sick, nice. And I put it up, and I'm like, oh, it can check pressure. So I took it back, flipped it around, checked pressure. It gave me like 1 PSI. So I just limped it home. I was sick of it. I wasn't going to do it again.
Yeah, we have one at home, which is super nice.
Ours just broke. The one I always had one in my car, and it just broke, which sucks.
We have like a huge one. Has like a, 100-gallon, compressor tank.
That's
compressor.
amazing.
My dad
Yeah.
wants one of those.
No, I had an
Yeah.
electric one. I need to buy another one.
So it can put in like 15 psi into my tires in like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
I literally
Those
just
things
give
are
it a nice, and I'm like, oh, she good.
Yeah. A couple years ago, we actually had our air compressor. It was like a little, like 2-gallon probably. If you're talking one of the big ones, ours is probably like a 2-gallon air compressor, and we had it blow up.
Oh my!
It blew a hole in the tank while my dad was filling something up. He was on the opposite side, so it didn't hit him or anything. But he like took it to work, put like a metal patch over the top of it, welded it in, and it works fine now. But
Nice.
crazy.
But yeah, it was I'm sure it was a little scary for him to just hear that thing go boom.
Yeah. One of my first experiences like with an air compressor was my bike tire was low, so I didn't fill it up. This was when I was super young, so I asked my mom to fill it up, and she just blew up my bike tire. It exploded, and I remember from that day forward, I was like, I need to learn how this thing works so I can do it myself.
Can't rely on your mom to blow up the bike.
It blew up my bike, and that was so loud in the garage too, and I was just like, boom. It was crazy.
It's probably the moment you gained consciousness.
Yeah. At that moment,
That
I was
was
like,
your big bang.
I was like, wait, if I just do things myself, then I can be responsible for the outcomes.
Sure had an epiphany.
That was so funny.
Oh, heck yeah. So, Regs, what have you been up to recently? Anything you want to share with our audience?
Nothing huge. The only thing I've really been up to lately
Except for
is
the biceps, my boy.
doing my LJD lawn service stuff. I knew you guys were hitting at that.
Insert phone number here.
But yeah, give big shout out to my landscaping business, LJD Lawn Service.
Big things.
If you're in Shelby County, Ohio, or the surrounding areas, give us a call at 937-726-7330. So yeah, I've been really busy doing that kind of stuff. 2 weeks ago, my bosses went on vacation, and I work.
Yeah,
your
boss.
I also work at a dairy farm. Shout out to Whirling Farms. Those guys are awesome too. But
Yep.
they went on vacation, and I pretty much worked 5 straight 16-hour days. It was between the farm. I'd get off work at the farm, work 4 to 8 a.m., get off work there, and then I would go do lawn stuff all day, and then go back to the farm at 3 o'clock and work until 7. Those made for some long days, but most recently, we obviously had one of our friends, one of the guys that does the podcast.
Oh, Trey.
Sister got
Trey's
married.
sister got married. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Mackenzie and Mitchell.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
one of you.
fellas, all went down to Kentucky over the last weekend. Had a good time celebrating for those guys.
Yeah. So
Nothing.
regarding
It was fun.
It was a great time.
regarding the lawn care business, then do you see like a lot of longevity in this, or like something you want to do up into your future?
I think there's a good possibility for it. There's a lot of things to think about. Like, I obviously, being the owner, I wouldn't have benefits unless I would have to purchase like supplemental health insurance, and I've been told by my dad that it's really expensive and stuff. But it's something that I really do like. I like I think it's really satisfying. Just, I mean, and it's anything. Pressure washing has been the most satisfying thing to do. 'Cause, I mean, we have a little attachment, and you just wash the dirt, get lifted off the pavement, and I like doing it. But I guess it's just something that
all the time too.
Do what? I didn't hear what you said
You
there.
get to hang out with hose all the time too.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Me and my hose all the time.
Benson, but the hose.
As a reference.
But yeah, it keeps me busy for now. We'll have to find out what the future holds for it, but for now, that is what the plan
What's your
is.
business model?
Yeah, like, what's your growth? Where do you
brought the flow chart, right? We told you to bring a flow
do
chart.
not have the
What's your
charts for
corporate
it
level
now.
strategies?
Where's your book of business?
On my
Yeah,
phone.
where's
it's
your
an
book?
Excel spreadsheet.
Nice.
Excel is the book of business.
Yeah.
America runs on Excel. Honestly,
Yeah, we got together and made an Excel spreadsheet for the pod.
Oh, yeah.
We have everything on one sheet that we need to do. I just recently found out you can basically program in Excel.
Oh yeah.
the limits
There's so much you can
So
do.
the drama department for our hometown the director just made a POS system in Excel, fully functioning, can print out receipts, does the math for you. It's got buttons for everything they could purchase. It's wicked.
That's
It's
crazy.
so
That
cool.
actually is really cool.
All in Excel. No porting, nothing.
Yeah, the limits to Excel are way farther than a lot of people would think. I spent like 3 hours of my life watching the Excel World Championships for 2024. Oh my
I want to see if I can make poker in Excel. Or blackjack would be easier.
The coolest thing about it was they never used their mouse.
Yeah.
It was all typing, all shortcuts.
That is fun.
Really?
Which
That's
is
how you learn it in the one class that I told you about, the finance class you got to take. And there's also half that you also
semester.
learn Excel. It's all they're like, we're going to try to teach you this so you don't have to use your mouse.
Oh lord.
So it's all, not even shortcuts,
Yeah.
but it's shortcuts / the accessible mode where you click it and then everything on your keyboard is a button to click somewhere else.
yeah.
It's Alt HOI. I know that one. That one's to reformat cell height, I think, or width. I think it's width. So if you're on a cell, you go Alt HOI.
I'm gonna have to have my sheet
auto-fits
a notebook sheet of paper with just thousands of shortcuts written on it.
But it just sucks because it'd take longer to look than it would just be click. I've always.
I mean,
gone
after a
click, and I
while,
don't
you-
really care. But
After a while, you're gonna remember
Yeah,
the most frequently used ones.
Obviously, I
you're
don't
gonna have.
forget Control
in the
V,
back of your head,
Control
yeah.
C, Control A.
Yeah, Control C and Control V. Those are very important.
Those have gotten me places in life.
Yeah.
Command PRT. I know what that is.
PRT. Oh, print. Control print.
Control P, bro.
Control
Yeah.
P.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just Control P.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I
Control
think you're-
SCR.
Screenshot.
Screenshot.
Okay.
Control B,
I have a control print on one of my
Bold.
computers.
Yeah.
Control U,
Underline.
Control
I. Is italics.
Control Z.
Oh, it's-
Control Z is the one I use the most, actually, I think. Undo.
What is that? Undo.
Undo.
Oh.
that makes sense.
Yeah. You probably make a lot of mistakes, don't you?
Oh,
Yeah. Not as much as your mom, but.
Oh.
Did you just say boom?
I kind of
roasted?
walked into that
I
one.
did.
Boom roasted.
Boom, rush.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I watch a lot of The Office, just clips. I don't know why. What I'm attracted to. When I want, when I turn into an iPad kid and I'm eating food and I just want to watch something, it's turn on random Office clips. Have you seen the titles on those too?
No.
It'll just be a random compilation of just Office clips, and it'll just say the most random stuff.
My wife left me.
Exactly.
Boom roasted.
It won't even say the boom roasted. It'll literally just say
No,
one is I declare bankruptcy, and that one's obvious.
That
But it's
makes
just
sense.
random stuff like that.
That's funny.
Hot take. I think The Office is overrated.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that.
It might be properly rated.
How do things get overrated? Or I think let me double check the Excel sheet.
that is an interesting.
Did you see what I put in there?
that
How
is an
things get
interesting-
overrated / underrated?
Because how can something really be overrated?
It's all subjective. So why do people clump it into a societal
Yeah.
image or a societal projection?
Yeah, I guess
It doesn't make any sense.
the easy way, if we wanted to start digging into this, would have to be looking at how, like, say NFL players get overrated, because there is statistical backing with that. So you can say everyone says that, what's a wide receiver?
Cooper Cup.
It's overrated.
Yeah, like Cooper Cup is like
Mm.
in his career, maybe you could consider him overrated, but like no one talks about Larry Fitzgerald anymore. I think he has a lot more yards than Cooper Cup.
Oh yeah. I mean, he
Yeah.
played for a lot more years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fitz was around for a long
I don't know, because that could be true, but like at the time though, because it's statistics, they're accurately rated.
I guess, unless you have a player that literally no one talks about, like, at all, and they have way more yards than, like, another player in that current season. Like, if you literally look at the amount of, like, say, like, ESPN
No.
headlines.
We're on the wrong. You're thinking of the wrong thing. You're thinking of the same words. Underrated and overrated, as in somebody like me thinking people that we're gonna go there. Me thinking that Taylor Swift is overrated because so many people like elevate her to this like idol, like goddess status. It's not with NFL players. Sure, someone could be that kind of underrated because nobody notices them even though they're doing great. But I don't think when people really look at it, they're not going to say they're not going to say he's underrated. Because in order to be underrated, people have to say he's not that good. You know what I mean?
I guess.
But in NFL, because of their statistics, it's not like a possibility.
No, I see a lot of discussion.
With the statistics.
I see a lot of discussion saying, like, is this player overrated or underrated, I guess.
Well, that's the question. Is it viable to even have that conversation? Especially with their statistics involved. It doesn't make any sense.
Not necessarily, I guess. I guess the more the thing that I was going with is like people that watch The Office, people that like The Office, absolutely love The Office. They want to watch it all the time.
It becomes like
it is
there
their
are
show.
certain things that have more of a cult following than other things.
Oh, absolutely.
for
The
sure.
Office is just you have to be that kind of person.
But
to
does
like
that
the
make
show.
something overrated?
But
Because-
okay, yeah,
Because
I get what you're saying.
I know so many people that love Taylor Swift, but they love her like to that extra, like that cult following degree.
But in that instance, she's not overrated to them. And if I don't think she's that great, I don't think I'm underrating her, and I also don't really think people are overrating her. I just think they like her a lot. I can think it's weird,
Yeah, I think
but I
the
don't
only
think
way
it doesn't make sense to be overrated.
I think you're looking at it in a different way than what it's usually talked about. I think
Yeah.
people more look at it as like how
The
much
way-
general attention and praise and how much like talk do they get about them. So like to me, I'd say Taylor Swift is overrated because like if it was up to me, she wouldn't get 2 minutes.
That's
out
what
of
I'm
my
saying.
day.
It's all subjective. So why even consider
I'm
it?
thinking of it like
You could be
if
annoyed that she's on TV. all
I'm
the
thinking of it like we would take at like the amount of buzz they get,
Right.
and then we look at their like some type of statistical numerical
Yeah, right.
data, and then see if that stacks up like to.
But
how
those
many
things can't be compared because they're not remotely the same variable.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to
wouldn't
turn them
compare
in.
the
You have
same
to turn them
variables
in.
anyway.
What?
You wouldn't compare the same variables anyway. You want them to be different.
Like
no,
say
what I mean is
yeah,
they're
you
not.
want them to be different.
No,
Say
they're not the same
someone's-
units.
Say someone's rating is like a 95,
Yeah, you don't.
and then whatever statistic we're looking at is like a 41.
But
So
one of those is always.
then you find somebody else and their rating is a 57, but in the same statistical category that we're viewing them at, their statistical like amount for that is an 81. We would have to say that person's underrated and the other person's overrated because they have better metrics than them, but they have less of a rating.
I lost you
But
low-key there.
Yeah.
I
no,
was
I did
following you
too.
completely. I actually followed you
I pretty
completely.
much said what I think
The
you were
issue,
saying.
not issue. The thing that always gets me is one of those variables is always arbitrary. Always arbitrary. That rating, somebody just made it. Looking at based on like there's
Yeah,
it's
you have
always
to-
always arbitrary.
No, you can make
technically-
arbitrary things like
Well, hang
you
on.
can turn them into data.
Well, hang on. So if two of these players theoretically have the same statistics, one is overrated or one has a higher rating, one has a lower rating, but they have the same statistics. How are those numbers not arbitrary then? They should be the same if it's all mathematical. The rating, the percentage rating.
Yeah, you would have to.
That's what makes them overrated. Just because they have a higher rating.
I understand that. I'm just saying those are arbitrary numbers.
You would have to make
the
like
ratings.
once you put
Yes,
backing.
not the statistics.
Once you put backing behind a number, like once you give the number reasons, then it's not arbitrary anymore. Like if I made a formula for how to calculate a rating for someone based off like how many ESPN headlines they have, how many times they're mentioned on a news broadcast, how many Instagram followers, if I could look at the rating number and then see how it's made, it's not arbitrary anymore.
You can
I know
calculate
that it has
buzz.
that factual
It's very
back.
difficult to calculate buzz, and it'd be virtually impossible. But it is.
Yeah.
It's not opinion.
Yeah.
It's not people can change. So if you could take
Like a
stats
similar thing is like
to
a
buzz.
QBR, how
Right,
well a
right.
quarterback performed during a game. It's not necessarily an arbitrary number because there is a mathematical formula that's used.
I'm not
calculate
saying that's a
QBR.
statistic.
Yeah.
So it can't be arbitrary.
So I would use statistics to find what their rating is.
And then if
So then how then are they overrated or underrated?
if
it's
their-
all statistics.
if their buzz is higher.
It
So let's
can't be
say
underrated or
let's say
overrated.
two players have the exact same stats, but one's
higher
formula has
buzz
a higher
statistic.
buzz.
And then the other one
So
has a
that
lower
means
buzz statistic.
Even though they perform and they're the exact same player, one is talked about more. That person will be overrated, and this one will be underrated.
So what
compared
you would
because
do,
they
you would
It's
get-
not
you would
overrated or
a very
underrated. They
buzz.
just did more things on their own outside of football to get that buzz. They have more followers. They do different stuff. They had one
Well,
more play. They had one star, amazing, like OBJ play that got them that, which means it's merited. And so obviously that's not
because of that
arbitrary
one-
because you're taking statistics.
because
But
of
it's
that
not
one
overrated,
play.
underrated.
Because
you
that
can-
one play,
you can
people
define
would
it.
view them as better than the other player, which would, since they're equal, they would be overrated.
That's buzz. Yeah.
Which, yeah.
Them making that star play has no impact on the game. If someone made a wide open 30-yard catch, but they made a 30-yard catch, that's what makes them overrated.
Yeah.
Because they got buzz for it, they got talked about it, while the other person
People are
technically did the
crediting
exact same
more
thing.
to them than
Correct.
what they actually are achieving,
Correct.
comparatively to
That's
the
what
rest
makes
of the
them
league.
overrated, and the
Yeah.
other person underrated by chance, or properly rated if you compare. If you throw a bunch of
The
people,
best
in
way
there,
to
he's
do it
with
was
all
you
the
would want to
others.
get like all the possible statistics a certain position could have.
But that is an arbitrary distinction, though, because if so many people think, "Oh, that was an amazing catch," well, that's subjective. Because obviously, you would think that catch isn't great.
But if
and
it
they would
caused
think it
buzz,
is.
it's not subjective. If there becomes like news articles and they talk about it on ESPN,
No, it
and
is
stuff,
subjective.
that's-
It is subjective. That's
Yeah,
what
but
politics
the
is. It causes
The
buzz.
choice to
if there's
talk about
statistical
it.
backing, it's just cause and effect then. Like something happens and the buzz follows. That's just
No.
cause and effect.
Here's the
which
thing.
I don't think that's
If you
subjective.
take 100 people and ask them a question, like a opinionated question, 99% of them answer the same thing. 1% answers a different thing. It's still arbitrary. It's not a fact. So if some percent of the population thinks it wasn't a great thing, but a vast majority think it was a
Hold
great
on.
catch.
Hold on. Can I back you up so I understand?
Well, all right. So we're going back to this 30-yard wide open catch. Not that.
That's our timer.
Okay.
We'll stop it and we'll start a new one.
We're
We'll
going
just
to continue
right.
this.
Okay. Let's take a step back real quick before I get back into it. I'm not saying overrated and underrated doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's odd that it's such a big thing in our culture today because it's so subjective. So let's look at this 30-yard catch again, and I'll talk slower. I realize I was talking fast. So someone makes a wide open in NFL. Someone makes a wide open 30-yard catch. Say 60%, say 80% of the population who watched it thought it was an amazing catch. 20% thought it was not an amazing catch. It was good, but it doesn't merit super crazy amount of praise. Because the percentage population that thought it was a good catch there's just a higher percentage, then it's going to get buzz. That doesn't mean that it wasn't a subjective decision that each person made to decide if it was a good catch or bad catch. And it's all based on different things in their mind and their opinions about football and what's difficult and what's not and stuff like that, what's impressive. It's all subjective.
So you say
Which
the votes-
means the buzz is still arbitrary because the base for that buzz is the amount of the percentage people that decided it was good or great compared to the percentage people that thought, nah, it was a good catch, but It's nothing special.
So you're
Because
saying
you start here.
the results to like elections should be disregarded because people are using opinions.
No, like I said, I know underrated and overrated exists.
Okay.
Okay, and obviously it has, consequences. Not to say that it's a bad. It's just it has effects on things in society. But because it starts as a subjective pool of decisions, then no matter how far up you go, it's never going to be a statistic. You can never quantify it, except for the percentage of people that thought it was great, percentage of people that thought, yeah. That's where I'm coming from.
You can have stats on
Yeah.
opinions.
That's what I just said. Percentage of
But no,
people who
you
think
said
this,
you said no
percentage-
matter
I'd
what
say,
goes
like-
up beyond here.
Like
it's-
what
it
I
ca- it
said,
can't
what
be
I
a
said at the
stat.
beginning. If you could somehow make,
That's the only stat it could be. Is
if you could
percentage.
somehow turn their rating into a statistic based off a measurable formula, then you would be able to numerically say someone is overrated or underrated based off these guidelines. and
how much
principles.
opinions they get.
based off
Yeah.
the subjectivity.
Yeah.
Right.
Ergo, why is someone overrated or underrated if you use that as a statistic in the rating? Wouldn't that be then adequately rated every time? 100%. And then vice versa for
No,
underrated.
that's why you have the comparing. That's why you have like the stats per se, which you compare to.
But if you use that what I just talked about, the percentage of people who thought it was great or bad, as a statistic in the formula, how are they underrated or overrated? Because you use this stat.
because you compare them to other people
Yeah.
that are in like that statistical category.
That's just higher rating or lower rating. Because people truly believed that this person is
Well,
better,
what I
and
was-
you use that as a stat in the formula.
What
That's
else?
a number.
What I
No,
was
that
gonna
wouldn't be
say?
take it
Stat
from
in the formula.
arbitrary
That would
to-
be the answer from the formula.
Yeah. Like if I took every person.
No, that's not what he said. He said you insert this into the formula, you get the rating.
I think he's talking about the amount of buzz that they get, the amount of the
You
talk
said
about
the
it.
rating. You said you take these numbers,
Yeah.
the opinions,
Yeah.
you convert that somehow into the buzz, but the buzz is still determined by these things, and
Okay.
you insert that into the formula. So with these,
No,
change
I'd
the
say
formula.
like the buzz. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you put buzz in the formula for the rating, including
yeah.
with the stats. Therefore, these
No, you're getting two numbers. You're getting your rating number and your stats number.
I know. But you're combining stats and buzz into rating.
No. It's
Then-
two separate numbers.
But we can't be talking about it then. It doesn't make sense. You have to put them in one thing.
No.
Because then buzz
It's pretty much
it's
say
still apply. My
your
my
buzz.
saying
Your
still
buzz
applies.
creates your rating, and then from the rating you look at their stats, and then so you get like a baseline level of stats. So pretty much, if I took
So,
every player
yeah,
that
the
got
So you keep them separate.
If I got every
Just
player-
buzz.
The rating has nothing to do with how they actually perform.
yeah, I
Stick with
get every
football.
player that's gotten a 1,000 yard season, or from 1,000 to 1,100 yards, and so this is every single player, and then I graph their
I
rating.
just simplify it. Let's just do
Just look at one
1,000
player.
yards.
I see what you
Let's
mean.
assume 10
You
guys
have-
got the exact same stats.
So
You
then-
have everything.
So your x axis would just be like you're on this axis if you got a 1,000 yard season, and then I do a bar chart with their ratings. The one that are like abnormally high from like the averages would be overrated because they're actually from a statistical standpoint and a receiving
The
standpoint
exact same.
the exact same as the other players.
Then that will be the literal term overrated. Overrated. Their rating is over what their stats are.
Correct.
That's what I've been trying to say. That's how you
that-
become overrated.
that's how you become
Your
overrated.
rating is over the average of what it should be due to your stats.
The only problem
That would make you overrated.
But if you
the only
generate-
problem with that is that you're never gonna have 5 guys that all have the exact same stats down to.
That's why I
down to-
tried. That's why I tried to make it a
Like-
range, but Devin said that would be too complicated.
there's so
thus,
many-
you proving my point with that.
There's
statement.
there's so many
Well, I
there's
was
so
just
many
thinking about-
different
'cause then you could
stats.
debate like
Yeah.
they got more.
yeah.
They got more.
Like, I mean,
stats.
there's-
Like, if
there's
one
so
guy
many
got
different
10 more
stats.
yards,
That's why
then you'd have to
you
compare
put it into
their
a range,
ratedness.
which happens a
Yeah.
lot in statistics.
when
Like,
you're
things
when
are
you're
just-
comparing say wide
into
receivers,
a
you got to have
range.
there's like catch percentage, receptions, yards per catch.
Yeah, which would
Right.
be so like the same
Touchdowns,
thing. You could
yeah.
you could somehow like the same way the QBR formula is like a whole bunch of different variables. You make like a wide receiver formula, or we
Mhm.
could just say we do use the QBR formula, like a career average QBR formula. Which that would probably be a pretty revealing one. I don't know what all goes into the QBR formula. We looked at it one time
mean,
in
it's-
pre-calculus
it's
class.
everything.
Actually, it was
Well,
in the
I don't
math
think
textbook.
so. I don't think it includes.
mean,
it
it's-
doesn't include running at all.
Well, because
Oh, yeah.
Or no
QB,
rushing.
QB, yeah, like QB.
Yeah. Because I've seen some
Traditional
games where
QB.
Jalen Hurts has had like 3 rushing touchdowns, but his QBR is still like 78.
Yeah.
It's not very good. I think the max you can get is a 158.
But then
Something like that, yeah.
But then so like in a rating in NFL, is that precisely how ratings are made?
See,
From this buzz.
Oh yeah. See the rating's the hard thing to
that'd be the tough
calculate.
to calculate. It is possible though. It is.
Yeah, you would have to like.
If you would wire
Like-
up every single person in America, it's
No.
plausible.
Yeah.
No.
It's possible. Listen, don't cut me off. For
It's
one, for
possible.
one time, let me speak. for one time, let
Oh,
me
it's
speak.
getting heated.
Go ahead.
If you would wire up every person, watch every single news site, go on every single social media app, if you had a way to snap your fingers, it would be countable. And it wouldn't be opinionated. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If they talk about it, if his name gets blurted out or whatever, that causes buzz.
Also,
that causes the
here's
talk
here's
about
another
them.
way to look at
That
it.
is countable.
Here's another way to look at it. If we put everyone into a vote, every single person to a vote, and we said, is this person overrated or underrated? If the vote came back 50-50, then they would be perfectly
Properly
rated.
rated.
If it comes back skewing to either side, wouldn't that mean, because of that's what the majority of the public thinks they are,
That's
wouldn't
true.
wouldn't that be a self-fulfilling thing and then make them overrated
I
or
wanna put
underrated?
Listen to it this way.
That is true.
Listen
I
to it
think-
this
I
way.
think that
If you think Joe Burrow is overrated, is that true to you?
Absolutely, not. I think he has.
Okay, if you
He's
think
deserving and earns all the buzz he gets.
he's perfectly adequate for you.
I'd
Okay.
say underrated.
We're
I say
going-
underrated.
So
Probably.
you
Yep.
Yeah, I
truly
would
believe
I would
it is a
definitely
truth
think he's a little
that he's
underrated.
underrated.
Do I truly believe? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Truly
I
believe.
think he's overrated, and I truly believe I think he's over theoretics. I truly believe he's overrated. Who is right?
whoever is in the majority would be correct.
Sherman's right.
So since it's
Why?
two
But
versus
why?
one,
But why?
Because if Regs he was,
But it's not politics. But it's not politics.
Because they both believe he's underrated,
Yeah.
so they're the majority. So more people think he's underrated. Therefore,
Yeah.
in their opinion, he should be ranked higher than what he
No,
is.
Like, it's like this.
No, listen.
it's like
Real
if
quick.
I thought 2 + 2 = 5, it's not gonna because it's an arbitrary. The math is an arbitrary concept. It doesn't make it true.
Okay, but if more people thought 2 + 2 = 5 than people thought 2 + 2 = 4,
I knew where
is 2
this
+
was
2
going.
= 5?
Yeah, 2
It would.
+ 2 then = 5.
'Cause
Wrong.
that would be more acceptable.
Just because
If
something
people truly believed it.
true.
I'm with
If
Isaiah on
people
that
did
one.
truly
No,
believe it.
because the
If people
world's
if-
infrastructure would collapse if that was true. It's absolutely false.
No, because then the
You can't
numbers would
change
just
it.
change.
Yeah,
If-
yeah.
What I mean is the quantity 2 plus the quantity 2 = 5. If the majority of people
Yeah, but no one
believed
would
that,
believe that.
theoretically,
Well, you can't theoretic something that denies the law of physics.
yes,
and
you
math.
can. And it
You can't.
really,
Not
really,
for people to
you can.
truly believe
No
it.
one can truly
Really, you
believe
can't.
something that's like past the laws of physics.
Yeah, that's
Like
that's
I
our
can't.
universe.
That's like a point of.
Okay,
that's
so we'll
that's
say
a point
it-
of they're
we'll say
just
it this way.
uneducated.
We'll say it this way.
Like if I truly believe I'm breathing in
Listen.
100% magma,
Yeah.
that's just wrong.
Listen.
Yeah.
Okay, someone describes to you exactly what a giraffe is except the color. 60% of people believe the giraffe is blue. 70% of people believe the giraffe is spotted and orange.
Dress? You mean?
Does it a giraffe?
Oh,
giraffe.
giraffe. I didn't talk about that one dress. That was an optical illusion. Like, I thought it was blue, white,
I thought
and
he
spotted
said
or
a
whatever.
draft, and I was like, what are we
I
picking
thought he said
here?
draft to it
Is the
first, and I'm
giraffe
like,
blue?
nah.
We have the giraffe. It's behind curtain number 1. Because more people believe it, does it make it true?
Well, that's an unknown. People are guessing.
So you're. I would
If
say
you would
that's
show
like
the
an
giraffe to
unknown.
people, and more people would say that is a blue giraffe.
Well, let's say 60% of people are colorblind.
I don't.
So they
I
have
don't
the
know
stuff,
where you want that.
but they have
I don't,
things.
I
that
don't know what
influence
you're expecting. I think this is.
I don't know if we
can
can even do that.
This got to be
I don't
some
know how
of
to
the
compare
wackiest
this.
conversation
Yeah,
we've
this
ever
is-
had on here.
them. I'm just saying. That's what it comes down to for me. is-
Colorblind people.
No, because overrated and underrated is based on the opinions of the individuals that contribute to. We'll go back to NFL, but there's movies, shows, products, anything, right? Celebrities. It boils down to the individual opinion of each person who knows about it and thinks about these things, and each one of those people have subjectivities about them that influence the way they think about something.
Correct.
Therefore, to them, especially, it has to be subjective. You're right, but the numbers particularly was to prove my point. It has to be a subjective or an arbitrary concept, not imaginary, just something that can be true if two different people believe it. So, you can't have ultimate, maybe when you include statistics, especially with the NFL, I'll give you that. You can get really, really close, perhaps. But if anything else, you cannot have a truly underrated or truly overrated. You cannot use more people think this way, so it's this. It's true to each individual person what they believe because it's subjective. Therefore, you cannot have a true underrated or overrated thing.
Why not, though? I don't see why not. You can make a stat off opinions, you know?
You can say it using statistics. It doesn't mean you're right. You're making a generalization. It doesn't make it a fact.
If I say something is true based off statistics, it's not true.
No, you're lying. Because 40% of the people believe it's not true, and it's subjective. Therefore, to them, it's not true. So you can't say it's 100% true. You can say it's 60% true. That's all you can say. Otherwise, you're lying.
Well, that kind of goes back to our argument.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
that's the end of
If
it.
there's more people that believe 2 + 2 = 4, then they'd be right. If more people believe 2 + 2
And the
=
same
5.
thing-
No, what I just said was you'd be 60% right.
That could be applied to the rating thing. So we could, you could add that second level in and see how far above the mean they are, and you could say this person is 83% overrated.
Here's the thing. You guys keep going back to the cold, hard numbers, which I just said.
Or numbers, people.
Which I just said
Z scored that thing.
is going to, which I just said is going to muddle it, because you're mixing subjective opinions with numbers. You can't truly do that.
No, we're getting numbers.
You can have a
trying to do the
certain
Six
percent
Sigma
accuracy.
We're
test
getting
right
the
now.
numbers based off subjectivity.
That's what I just said.
No, you said we are
And you're
we're
comparing them to statistics, and you're trying to say something.
We're getting statistics from opinions and comparing them to other statistics.
But where did those
statistics can come from opinions?
Where do those radios come from? Opinions and statistics.
You can make
and you just said
statistics. You can make data off
from
opinions.
It's
which
literally
means
like-
some of those statistics need to have, if you want to be 100% accurate or 100% truthful, those statistics that require opinions need to have a percentage truth to them. Then and only then can you produce a 100%.
See, to me, it's like
accurate
when they say
rating.
9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste, it's pretty much 9 out of 10 dentists think that this toothpaste is properly rated or underrated. And then one thinks it's overrated and don't recommend it.
We're probably not overrated, just not suitable for dental care, for hygiene. I think it's different.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, and they're
Possibly, because I could think like an
artist.
artist is overrated, but still recommend someone to listen to it.
Yeah.
But I'd be
You
less
know what I mean?
likely to.
Yeah, there you go. But that doesn't mean what I said wasn't true.
Yeah, I agree with that. But if someone told me, like,
So you can't
determine if this person's underrated, that's how I would go about doing it.
That's-
I would have to use statistics.
Right, if you were asked to determine something.
Because I think
but
I
would
just
that
want to
be an-
use my own opinion.
But exactly.
I
And
wanna use
if I asked
everyone's
somebody
opinion.
else, they would say the other thing. Who is right?
you
To each
would
person,
use
you're
the
right.
You'd have to use the law of large numbers to determine the
Yeah, use
proper
majority.
who's right.
You can't. You can say
But if you
It's
can't, then I
60%
still
true.
think that null and voids like our elections. Then
Yeah, because
can
then,
say
then
that's like the
60%.
baseline of
nothing,
democracy.
nothing is true. Then
Yeah, then nothing's true.
you're really getting into the
no. 2 + 2 = 4.
There's one person out there. I promise you, there's one person on the earth who solely believes 2 + 2 = 5, and like they're not like if there was a gun to their head, they would say 2 + 2 = 5. So that means that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 because it's opinion.
No, Jacob said
We'd
it.
have to say 2 + 2 99% of the time
Yeah,
equals 4.
yeah. Nine,
That's what you're kind of saying.
infinity
here.
minus 1 times equals 4.
Well, 1 divided by 3 times 3 is not 1, so I don't even want to hear about this. That's yeah.
Now we're talking about
Yep.
math.
It's only
how that
0.99
stuff works.
repeating.
I see.
What did you say?
1 divided by 3 is
0.3 a third. 0.33
multiply
repeating.
that by 3.
Just
It's
use
1.
if you just use a fraction, then it does equal.
It's 1.
Yeah, I'll just use a fraction. I won't use a decimal point. 1 divided by 3 equals 1 over 3 times 3. If you reciprocate that, it equals
It's 1.
1. Yeah.
But it also equals 0.9999999.
No, just use
So there's
fractions.
facts.
Just use fractions. A fraction's a way of
I guess
representing
you
an
could
infinite
say
decimal point.
0.99 repeating equals 1.
Yeah, people do say that
So
too.
there's two things that are
Yeah.
both true.
No, it's because they're the same thing. Yeah, it's because they're the same thing. That's because of the Planck length
But no,
is
you have
determined
to,
by the Planck
you have to
number.
base it off of subjective things. That's what I've said multiple times.
Yeah, but then everything is subjective.
no,
Because
numbers.
There's going to be someone out there who
No,
has a different
something-
Did I
opinion.
mess up my words?
Some
You
things
have to
have to
base it
be-
off of subjective things. Some things are true. You're right. Numbers are true.
I should have asked this before, but what is subjective? No, I'm just kidding.
Opinion. Okay.
What's the
You know what I
definition
mean?
of subjective?
I get what you're saying with
We
the
get
ratings.
even deeper.
And I gave you leeway like 5 minutes ago saying, yes, you can get pretty dang accurate. Was that out? You can get pretty dang accurate, and you can make a pretty good generalization. And then people can have their own opinions on it. That's fine. I think it works out. But in any other thing, you guys keep bringing it back to NFL. I think they have a really good way of producing, an accurate number or an accurate idea about each player. You put it anywhere else, it's going to get a lot harder.
But like, just because something difficult doesn't mean it's impossible.
It is.
Where did
Numbers
that
aren't
come
subjective. Nature isn't subjective.
Well, again, like if you're gonna compare that, how what we were saying is still subjective. How are
What?
numbers
No,
not
you have to
subjective?
define what you just said. What did I say?
from?
How
Like,
you
if
were
I,
saying
if I said mountain lions are overrated, and then I could find what their KD ratio is compared to other animals. I could, based off of those, like as long as you know the underlying statistics, you should be able to make a
But here-
decision.
there's a
based off
problem.
of it.
You decided what factors into your decision. Someone else.
So then
is going to
someone
decide
could say,
other
I
factors.
reject it due to these factors. They would have to reevaluate the statistical evaluation
And
and,
you
then
could
bring
do
it back
that
up.
8 billion times for every person in the world, and you would never come to a true conclusion with everybody using
Well,
because those
no,
are
no.
So
subjective.
just
Because
like
then-
numbers.
No,
Just like
then
2 plus
once
2,
once
someone out there's
someone
gonna believe that
Stop
doesn't
talking
equal
about
4.
numbers.
once someone made a
Because you were
decision
earlier.
Once
It was-
someone
what do you
made a
want me to bring
decision,
up- what do you want me to try to compare it with?
once someone
want you
made a
to
decision
think about
based
what I'm
off these
I am.
certain statistical underliers, then you could just bring it to a vote of the entire population.
So if you have a poll with only these options, then yes. But that's still not going to limit the fact that people will say, well, why isn't this on here? So within the poll, you
no,
can
no,
pick
it would
something.
be
But
Yeah, I
subjectivity is unique in that it still applies outside of what you just conducted. There's things that people would consider that's not on this list of things you asked them to answer about. So you could contain it.
well. Obviously, I would manipulate it so that I get the better choice that I desire.
Of course. Why wouldn't you? But like I said, Devin, it must be subjective. Numbers aren't subjective. What Jacob said was right. If someone thinks 2 + 2 = 5, they're just uneducated. And it nullifies it.
So
It's not an opinion. They believe
know.
it's true. It has to be an
I agree.
opinion.
I agree, and I
Yeah.
think just like football players, musical artists, we could do the same thing with their actual
Albums sold,
statistics,
tickets
numbers,
sold.
and whatever, and then to how much talk they get or how good people think they are. Like if I would show you a bum artist you've never heard of before, but they had the exact same amount of plays and every number was the same as Zach Bryan, and we would go around the whole entire earth and ask which one's better. 99% of the people are going to say Zach Bryan's better. But based on statistics, they're the same. So we would say either Zach Bryan's overrated or this guy's underrated. It's either comparable. But they have the same stats. Do you agree with that?
I agree. Underrated and overrated is a real thing. I'm saying
Are we getting
It's-
somewhere?
odd.
Here we
I've said
go.
that multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's odd. I'm not saying it should not exist.
Oh, I agree. It's odd too.
Yeah, if you would have said that, I'd agree.
I have said it
Yeah.
multiple times.
yeah, it's
we
definitely
never
odd.
agreed.
We've-
We always
we've-
agreed.
It's like
this
definitely
is-
over
this is my
difficult to
point.
calculate as well.
And all I was trying to do, I'm not trying to nullify the fact that, I'm not trying to say we shouldn't take it into account or we shouldn't use it to figure things out. I'm saying it's weird, and I've just been trying to explain overrated and underrated this whole time because it's all based on subjectivity as a base. Because you use statistics, so overrated and underrated, you use statistics after the fact, right? Those come in after you get the opinions of everybody.
Correct.
And then use statistics to compare it.
Correct.
No, I would
But
say
the
they
thing is,
come in
everybody-
because we get the opinions of everybody.
No, I mean, if you're going to try to figure out if someone's overrated and underrated, you're going to put these aside, get these on purpose, and then pull them in at the same time and look at them.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to look at one just because you gathered the other, unless you're having a conversation with somebody, and then you talk about it, and you're like, well, let's see. You know what I mean? It's different. That's it. It's just because it's subjective. It's weird because to that person it's true, but if you look at the big picture with the statistics, well, this says it shouldn't be true, but to that person it's still true. Even if you show them statistics, they're like, nah, I still like Zach Bryan. Because it's art. Art is always subjective.
Well, yeah, I agree they could still like Zach Bryan more, but I think they would agree that that person's underrated. Like, if someone would show me a nobody,
Maybe they don't like him.
about,
Maybe they don't like him.
that's fine. I mean, he would have to be underrated. You could show me a guy that I hate,
But
but
they
like
don't-
I hate Devontae Adams. So you show me his numbers, yeah, I'm gonna say he's properly
Well, that's
rated.
just the kind of person you are. If you get somebody
Correct,
who's
but-
stubborn,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
still
I
going to be
agree.
true that they think they don't even care. He's like, no, I guess if he has all that stats and I think he's bad, he's overrated.
I think if that's just like
That's
the 2 + 2
true to
=
them.
5 thing. It's just if you show someone the stats,
this isn't numbers. This is art. If they don't like him, and then you show him you show this person the
they
statistics
deny.
on how
They're in denial.
it's not in denial. They just don't like his songs, and then see how many people love his songs, and they say, "No, I think it's overrated. I don't like it."
But
because it's art.
They would still have to agree he's underrated.
They don't have to do anything because it's their opinion. They don't like it. They look at the numbers and say that's overrated because that's just bad
yeah,
art.
they don't have to say it, but like internally, if you could tap into their brain,
That's what I'm saying
it would
about
have to say it's underrated.
that's what I'm
No,
saying
no,
about the big
they
picture.
they wouldn't have to say it, but they would have to say.
They would have to think it,
They would
whatever.
they wouldn't have to
They'd have
think
to
it or
agree.
I
say
see
it.
that.
But they would have to say that the general public views him as overrated.
I think he would
They would-
himself would be if he
No,
was like
because-
this guy is
No, no,
way
no, no,
better.
no.
Overrated and underrated
Yeah.
only exists because people believe in opposite things. Otherwise, we wouldn't need overrated, underrated. That's what I'm saying.
If we
Do
break
you know?
if we break it down,
If he
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
say he's overrated, nobody would say he's underrated.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I agree with that. Fine.
there you go.
Yeah, I agree there too, but I still don't see how that nulls that he doesn't have to think that the one person's underrated.
No, because people are
It's
still going to
art.
have their opinion,
It's
but
opinion.
they're just going to look at like.
Like I
He can,
said,
he can
so
still like
overall.
someone better, but I think they still have to
No,
like internally
like I
believe
said,
like wow, he
overrated
is
and underrated.
He isn't that bad.
Overrated and underrated would not exist unless people had opposite opinions.
Correct.
Therefore, he would have to believe it. Therefore, he doesn't have to admit, he doesn't even have to think that he's underrated. He can still say he's overrated, otherwise there's nobody saying he's underrated. That's why it's so weird. I'm not saying, I think it's still a good thing we use these things, overrated and underrated, as, I even say a statistic, as a quantifier to look at things. It's cool and compare, but they're still really weird. That's all I'm saying. We've actually agreed on a lot in the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, honestly,
What
I,
do you think,
I
Riggs?
know the
This episode
I know
title
the
is going to be like, "Is this episode overrated?"
Yeah. What do you?
the final conclusion to all of this is 2 + 2 = 5.
Only if you believe it does.
Oh, you
my
believe it
God.
does.
Only
it's true.
1% of the time, though.
Yeah.
No, it has.
Yeah,
to
you're
be,
that
It has to be
1%.
arbitrary. It has to be arbitrary.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
that-
yeah.
for that to come into play.
And then obviously, like, what your underlying factors are that determine the statistics play a big role too. Like if I
yeah, of
ask,
course. It's
if
all
I ask
context.
someone,
It's all
is
context.
are cigarettes overrated or underrated? You could do a whole study that puts in the data that they give people cancer and kill people, and then you could also do a study that excludes that data, and you're going to get two very different.
Well, I mean, what you said is a really good point. Like, well, obviously, I'd skew it in my favor. Yeah, it's
Obviously.
and I'm sure a lot of overrated, underrated polls and stuff like that do that.
Yeah.
Well, then that's.
It doesn't really matter because it's all.
Well,
arbitrary.
isn't there like
I don't
a-
think that should
You
like.
can
really
use it
count,
to
'cause
get
that's
an
just, like,
idea.
purpose.
Yeah, we're just imagine that doesn't happen. That like
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
made to actually be like
So yeah, it's really
statistically
helpful. You
best.
can use it to get an idea of the publicity someone's getting. You can use it to get an idea of the kind of work someone's doing.
Well, I would use it
what's
to
going
be
on.
like, all right, this person is overrated, thus leading to them getting proportionally more income for achieving the same task.
to turn socialist.
Why is that happening?
Oh,
No. It's
Take it away.
It's a very capitalist statement.
Yeah.
Capitalist
yeah, you
statement
flip-
saying, why is someone
Absolutely.
making so much money? I need to repeat what they do.
Yeah.
It's a monkey see, monkey do industry.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you could even.
So
we
it can
could,
be very helpful because what people believe as subjective, what the subjective
And,
things
like,
people
I
believe.
would say like
is
80%
true
of
to
the
them.
time, statistics are extremely helpful.
Yeah. I think we could even bum this down to be even simpler instead
You
of
mean
overrated and
dumb?
underrated. Same thing. Bum. Bum it down. Or
We'll be
dumb
right
it
back.
down.
We come back. There's like soot on our faces. Weird beanie caps. All right. What are you saying?
Sorry, we could just make it straight up good and
We're in a
bad.
box.
We could go around
Oh
like
yeah,
an
yeah,
artist.
yeah, exactly.
No, cute. Get out your cute little giggle.
Yeah.
What?
Giggle
He's
for
got
me.
The, he's got to get to the gig.
The.
What, you guys like that?
No.
I'd say you could,
I'm in between.
you could bum it down to just good and bad. You could ask
Yeah.
the whole entire population if they think it's good. Let's say 70% say he's good,
Yeah.
30% say he's bad. Who's right?
Didn't I already bring this up when I
Each
could
one is
ask if
because
we
they
think
truly-
someone's overrated or underrated?
I know, but good and
Yeah,
bad just
dumbing
is
it down.
simplifying.
I guess
Yeah.
that's from 3 options: over, proper, and under to
Well-
just 2 options: good or bad.
So-
Well, what if
and
someone
it's
says
just-
he's neutral?
Because there's like a neutral, and then there's a
So it's the
it'd
same
be a
thing.
good,
So,
neutral,
I
bad.
don't
But
even
then
say
you just
Yeah.
have to be
So whoever believes bad or whoever believes good, they're both right in themselves. You can't
Yeah.
say
Well,
you can't put a blame.
underrated and
Well, it's
overrated
really
is
hard to
actually
convince
another layer
somebody.
on top because if you say
Yeah.
it's underrated, that you think you're comparing it.
Yeah,
to,
it's a one
You're
level.
taking,
more
you're
mega.
taking out the
layers.
statistical baseline there.
Correct.
Yeah, you're
Yep.
saying
With the good,
good or
and
bad is
and-
just
and that's
Yep.
pure subjective, right?
Right.
And so then
Purely
you could say
subjective.
there's no usable data. on
Yeah,
that.
'cause it's
well,
all-
you could use it. 70% people think it's bad. This is good, but
Yeah.
you can't you can't draw a conclusion.
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to say
Because
in
like
general
with
terms,
cigarettes,
it's good.
but these
Because
people
more
think it's bad.
it's
Yeah,
good.
because you
They
could say
believe
like,
it.
yeah,
It's
30% of people think cigarettes
Exactly,
are
that's
good.
right.
Yeah, it's
And
true
then-
to them, and so
Yeah.
And you're not gonna convince them otherwise.
yeah.
What they believe is
Oh,
what.
God, brother.
Yeah.
We did it, Jim.
On God, brother.
I don't know if I gained brain cells or
I
lost
can't
them
believe.
with
I
that
can't
combo.
believe we sat there and talked about that for like 30 minutes.
I think I
Oh,
evened
more
out
than
there.
that, John.
It's
Dude,
probably 40 minutes.
we got 2 minutes left.
Oh,
on this.
Lord.
We definitely-
Oh my!
We've
the
done
entire
45
episode.
subjective
I
conversations.
say 45 minutes.
100%.
The entire episode is talking about underrated and overrated.
That was fun though.
That was deep.
Have you ever seen our? Have you ever seen our? Have you ever seen our episode talking about if South Africa actually exists or not?
No.
I don't know if I was.
I don't
there.
remember that.
No.
It clearly doesn't, dude.
Yeah.
No,
What?
that's
Oh my
Australia.
gosh.
Australia.
Yeah, 'cause we looked at some like imaging from the moon, and the Pacific Ocean was just absolutely monstrous.
Okay, South Africa's not that big though, so you probably just didn't
Are
notice
you
it.
just talk about Africa, the continent, the south part of it?
Yeah.
Or not South Africa?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
the country.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
not the
saying
country.
this does not exist. It just
Yeah.
cuts off.
No, that's what you were saying. You were arguing against
I
me.
said that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to reference this.
As the history
Yes.
major, I don't know if he said that.
I don't
John.
know. I know a lot about. I know like all these countries right there. Lesotho, yeah, right in the middle of. Right in the
Wait.
middle of South
Before we
Africa.
end it, scroll over
And
or swipe over to
Swaziland, actually,
the Atlantic Ocean real quick.
Yeah, right there,
we'll
John.
point it at them.
Christopher Columbus is on there.
See
country?
that
What
dotted,
the-
see that dotted line? That's actually the line that my ancestors took to travel
With the
Oh,
slaves.
this big one?
to the United States when they fled from Germany.
Okay, Devin. All right, you.
It's a
need-
genuine question. I don't know.
No, they
no, they went north. So
as you can see.
they wouldn't have done that. Kill beans, brother. This little island next to this boot is where my family's from.
Up here, there is the Ray Castle, up at the north part of what is now the UK.
And this is where they dropped the atomic bombs in 1945.
Yep.
Swipe over a little bit. Swipe over.
That's where they
Go up. Go up. And that's where they made them.
What do you want me to do? Zoom and enhance? I don't.
No, like
Right.
physically, I wanted to move your finger up to
Right.
Nevada.
Country.
What was
It
it
was
called?
part of Mexico.
I thought it was.
Texas was a part of Mexico.
I thought it was Alamo, New Mexico, is where they tested.
Then
nuclear
they
bombs.
branched off,
It
became
was,
the Lone Star
Albuquerque,
State.
New Mexico.
It wasn't Albuquerque.
Or no, it was someplace in New Mexico
What was in New Mexico?
They did
where
what?
they tested the bombs.
Were
I
they-
think it was in New Mexico. It wasn't in Nevada.
Yeah, but wasn't it Alamo, New Mexico?
No, Alamo. I just said this. Alamo was a historical site where Texas, which used to be part of Mexico, branched off, wanted to become with the United States, but they couldn't yet, so they just became their own thing, and they got attacked by Mexico.
Let me look up where they tested the bombs.
Yeah, I know it was like Trinity, Project Trinity
Yeah,
or whatever.
It was way out there somewhere.
Los Alamos? No, that's just the Alamo.
No, that sounds right. Los Alamos sounds
It
right.
might be.
Los
They
Alamos?
They
Los
made
Alamos,
the town.
New Mexico.
I got us 50% of the way there.
Did the Alamos really close?
The first nuclear explosion was there.
Do you guys? Oh, it was probably time to end. But
Yeah.
you guys gotta look at the videos of like the atomic bomb test scenes they made. They're so fake. Like obviously they were real, but the United States made fake ones and leaked them.
There's talk about.
No, let me.
That's all, yeah,
Please,
go- yeah,
for one
yeah,
second. The camera was like 100 feet away from the house they blew up with an atomic bomb test. How the hell did they save the recording or the camera? And in one video, there's a car that just straight up disappeared. Like, there was a car there, and then right before the flash, it just disappeared before the bomb comes in. Alright, good.
I
So it was
saw-
fake.
I talk about India's. I think it was India's,
On the moon?
The fake moon.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Fake moon landing.
It's so funny. Yeah, we talked about that.
Oh, it's funny.
I seen Neil deGrasse Tyson made a point that like nuclear fallout isn't really a concern nowadays. With the bombs that we have nowadays, apparently it just won't happen
Why
Yeah, everybody'd be too scared
because
to
they
unleash a bomb.
use fusion bombs instead of fission bombs now.
Oh yeah, so it's not like radiation.
Yeah, so there's no more radiation.
Yeah. So you just have to worry about
Just the
dying
detonation.
on impact.
Yeah, you see, he's like the only thing you have to worry about is the 100-mile radius shockwave.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, well, we will see you guys.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Make sure you follow the socials at Speaking Sporadically.
Thank you.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you. We can't promise we'll be back next week. I wish I could say that, but
What's going on next week? What's
I'm
going on?
just saying.
We'll be back.
If you need another,
I bet we
In
said. I
town.
bet our last episode. I bet we said that we'll be back next week.
Probs.